Now we're going to go ahead and check for full starch conversion using the iodine test. We will go ahead and remove the lid of the mash tun. Take a small cup, grab a liquid sample. We're going to allow this liquid sample to cool to room temperature before we go ahead and add iodine. Mind you, this sample is to be disposed of after adding iodine. You should never consume the iodine solution. We generally use iodophor solution for this test. Mash tun looks good. Let me grab the stirring spoon and I will mix up the mash one last time. We will be drawing off a small sample of the mash and placing it back on top of the mash bed. This will make sure that we get grain and other sediment out of the system to filter it out through the grain husks so that it does not end up directly in our boil kettle. This is a very simple process. It's just a matter of drawing off a cup or two of sweet wort from the mash tun and placing it back on top of the grain bed. Make sure we stir and get in all the corners of the grain. Make sure that we get it all mixed up real nice and good. Now mind you, you can use almost anything food grade to stir the mash. We like dowels because dowels are very inexpensive. They also are readily available anywhere and they really cut through the grain bed. As you can see, there's nothing to stop it. Some places offer home brewing paddles. However, those paddles are generally very large and may not fit inside the mash tun very well. Keep in mind when stirring the grain not to stir so profusely you shake the mash tun and the whole brewing system. The Brewtree is a very stable brewing system. However, abusive practices such as overly stirring and hitting the mash tun walls may cause an unstabilization to occur in the Brewtree and can be very hazardous. You should be very careful and have respect for the Brewtree at all times, not to do things which would endanger yourself or damage to the equipment. Let's go ahead and do that starch conversion now, okay? Go ahead and remove that. Place the lid back on the mash tun.
Can I eat it?
You can taste the sweet wort if you like before you do the test. We're going to go ahead and do the iodine test to check for full starch conversion. We add a few drops of iodine. It's very difficult to see with the ear, but see, as you can see, it's yellow, like the iodine's supposed to be, which means we have full starch conversion. If it turned blue, it would mean that we still had starch in the mash, and we should continue to do the starch conversion for 15 minutes to half an hour or longer. However, with fully modified, as long as you keep the grain within the specific range, 140 degrees to 158 degrees, within 1 hour you should get starch conversion, full starch conversion. This is the same process that 95% of the major breweries in the world use, the single infusion mash system. There is no need to do any other more complicated system, as you can see. Did well by buying a Brewtree. The other people who buy the rim systems, no doubt, will have more hassle and more problems, and you will be drinking your beer and relaxing knowing you did the right thing.